Hey guys, I'm with my friend here, Jesse, and today we're just going to be talking about a couple of things. So, I'm just going to outline it for you guys. So, the first thing we're going to be talking about is how we both got started going to the gym. So, if you can't tell, Jesse goes to the gym as well.
Hopefully you can tell.
Yeah, hopefully you guys can tell. But yeah, we both go to the gym, and we're also both uni students. So, we'll be kind of outlining what it's like to be a uni student while being dedicated to the gym as well. And then we're going to be going over some of the things like mindset when it comes to lifting, and mindset when it comes to balancing, uni life with going to the gym maybe 6 times a week. Yeah. And we'll just be giving our personal insight on what it's like to be us. And it might apply to you. You might get some, good ideas from it, but we're just sharing what we learned from our own personal journeys. Yeah. So now we're just going to move on to the first kind of topic. So how we both started getting into lifting and going to the gym. So I'm going to let Jesse tell you guys his story first.
So essentially, starting off, I was actually not really the leanest guy. Still am not. But it all started when there's a friend of mine in uni. His name's Jackie. He might be watching this. So what's up, Jackie? But yeah, essentially what he did was he asked me if I wanted to go out to the gym. So he used to ask me a lot of things like, do you want to play Overwatch? Do you want to go out and throw a frisbee? And it's one of those days he's like, you know what, I'm going to sneak you into our gym because I go to gym 3 times a day. Why don't you come along? So I was like, yo, yeah, maybe I'll actually come along, see what's up, try some bicep curl exercises and all that. And Jackie, being in physiotherapy already in first year, he knew that kind of exercises he needed to do. So essentially what he did was basically, he just kept pushing me to keep coming with him, and essentially being in a new little city by myself in Brisbane and all. I had no other friends in Jackie at that point, because I was maybe the first month into uni. So essentially what Jackie did was, he was that little beacon of light in that sense, because he was the only friend I had that I could look up to, that I could follow around, because he had a car, he had a license, and all I had was a little bus card, and all I could do was just follow him around. So essentially that's how I got started. But yeah, we can talk about how I kept going later. But Victor, how did you start?
Alright, so I think for me, before I started gymming, I was a really skinny kid actually, and I didn't feel confident. I didn't feel the way I do now. I feel so confident, I could do anything, and I feel like I can achieve a lot more with myself now. But the main factor which actually just pushed me to go gym was just watching this channel called Barbell Brigade when I was still in high school. So back in high school I was so skinny. I was 60 something kilos, same height as I am now. What is it, 180 something, 183? Yeah, 183. So I was super skinny. I was like a fucking stick. And I was just watching Barbell Brigade, and I was very curious to see what lifting was like, specifically powerlifting. And once I came over here to Brisbane for uni, I always knew that I was going to start gymming. So it wasn't something my friends really pushed me to go gym. It was more something that I really wanted to do. And going to the gym, I never wanted to be jacked or ripped. I just wanted to get strong, because that's all I knew from watching those powerlifting videos when I was still in high school. And we'll be talking about how we kind of stuck to lifting, even though we're so busy with uni and work as well. So that'll be an interesting thing to talk about with you guys as well. So when you start lifting, you'll obviously have your good and bad days, and sometimes it's actually kind of hard to stick to lifting and going to the gym 5-6 times a week. And that's something we both kind of want to explore. So I'm just going to ask Jesse, how did you keep on going to the gym, even though you're so busy with everything else in your life?
Yeah. So I guess at the core value is just that you have to understand that it's all about priorities in that sense. So you really have to look at how you sort of prioritize things, what you value the most in your kind of lifestyle at this point in time. So me and Victor, we both study physiotherapy right now, so we've got quite a bit of workload, and we can't really skip too many days off uni as well, because we've got practicals to go to. Some lectures are pretty important as well. So I guess how we kept lifting was that we had to make time beyond what time we've got left to go to gym, to work out, to make sure that we're eating properly. And I guess in that sense, that how I kept going was usually actually my YouTube channel. So I've always had this little dream of making little videos and all that sort. So it was a really side thing for me, and I've never actually like dared to, you know, like video myself like going to the gym or whatever. But I just realized like throughout this whole fitness journey, I'm always going to be at that point once in my life. So I'm never going to be as fat as I was before. I'm never going to have that little muscle as I was before. So I thought, why not just document all of this to see how I've changed over the past few months or maybe even years to come. So yeah, the whole YouTube channel that I started off, I guess, it just kept going, and I just kept uploading. And there's always like friends like Victor, maybe Jackie as well, who always watch it and like, you know, comment on like how good, how bad, you know, how I should change and everything. And I guess it all just comes together to become a really tiny little community that really supports you throughout like lifting and all. And I guess that's, for me, was what just kept me going. Not really the numbers like of like lifting or whatever, but really like my friends supporting me. Yeah.
So you wouldn't say like your progress in the gym kept you going, like the gym? Would you say, you wouldn't say that?
So I guess in a sense, yeah, everyone's going to see bigger numbers. You're always going to be benching more, and you're always going to see like big people on like the videos like benching 2 plates, benching 3 plates, and you're going to be like, whoa, I wish I could do that. But of course it's really like it's like chipping a rock over time. It's going to take ages. So I guess the whole motivation doesn't really have to stem straight from just getting pure numbers or stem from attaining a kind of body that you'd want. It can also come from different things as well. And some of that could be friends too. Yeah.
Yeah. I could say like kind of similar, like not the same. So like when I first started going to the gym, like the thing that kept me going was quite superficial actually. It was like just seeing my numbers increase. Yep. So like, you know, like I can give you the example of, you know, when I first started, like I couldn't even deadlift 40 kilos. Yeah. I couldn't deadlift the bar like the first time I deadlifted. And then in like 2 months, I pulled 140. Yeah, for 1 rep. Yeah, and then knowing that I could do that, like it was more like a addiction. Like I just kept on wanting to go to the gym and seeing what I was capable of by continuously pushing myself until, you know, like fucking my back snaps. You know? But then like over time, I kind of realized that, you know, your progress is going to get very slow. And if you just rely on this kind of superficial sense of motivation, you know, it's not going to be sustainable for you to keep on going at this, you know, this lifting thing for your whole life. Because I plan to do this for as long as I can. Yeah. So I kind of had to find like another kind of thing to drive me to go into the gym, and I think that drive, like I didn't really have to search that hard for it, because I just had to look around me. And you know, going to the gym, you meet so many friends, you meet so many people who are into the same kind of stuff as you. And I didn't think much of it at the start, but there was this time where I actually injured my back, and I wasn't doing the best that I could for like maybe a good 4 or 5 months. And I would just go to the gym and, you know, just dabble around, not really do anything serious with like my lifting. But it was really my friends which pushed me like to go further, you know, to push myself to go back to the way that I was, you know, being strong and not being scared to lift heavy and just going hard every session. And so sooner or later I realized that the thing that really pushed me to keep on going to the gym is the community, just like Jesse, and seeing progress with not only myself and like my numbers, but also, you know, my friends, you know, like seeing my friends progress in their own journey of lifting, like that really makes me happy and makes me want to continuing my own journey.
Right, so now what we're going to be talking about is just basically how we balance, you know, life, studying, even work as well, because we both work part-time too, with everything that revolves around our life, and how we actually like just slide our working out and how we slide like our diets into like the whole scheme of things. So Victor, how would you say you balance everything?
Yeah, so when it comes to like my approach, like to balance gymming and like, you know, holding down my uni degree and also holding down my job, I kind of look at it like this, like at the end of the day, I'm not a professional athlete, you know. At the end of the day, I'm here like in Brisbane to study. So I'm not as intense as some others. Like I wouldn't, you know, skip class just to go to the gym. Yeah. But I would like find another way to slide my workouts in, and slide my dieting and whatever it is like gym related into my uni like life. So I really prioritize uni first, and then my girlfriend second, and then gym third. Yeah. So so if it's just the gym when it comes to training, as a student, you're really stressed on time, and you can't really spend so much time in the gym. Like I'd say 1.5 hours to 2 hours tops. Yeah. And I think any longer than that is a bit too much. Yeah. And balancing, like this time like spent in the gym and trying to study as well, it's definitely hard, especially when it comes down to like exam time, where you kind of have to put off gym for a while. I'm not going to be the one to say fuck studying and just go to the gym. It's going to make you feel better. Like I don't function like that. I'm pretty sure maybe you don't as well.
Hopefully not.
Yeah, but like I don't function like that. So because I prioritize uni so much, so like I would skip gym. Like I'm not going to lie to you guys and say, well, I go six days a week regardless. Like there's some times where I just don't feel like it. I feel like trash, so I just don't go to the gym, and that's fine. Like as long as you're doing something else which is beneficial. Instead of playing games, you might you could be studying, or you could be preparing your meals, like so you don't fuck up your diet. And speaking of diet, dieting while being a student is actually really hard because it takes up so much time. I'm pretty sure you know. Yeah. So whether you're bulking or cutting, like it's still so time consuming that it can take up maybe, I don't know, like three hours. 3 hours. Just like this is everything, including eating, washing the dishes, cooking, thinking of what's to eat next. Yeah, because we're both living by ourselves, so we have to figure out food like by ourselves. So like that's going and getting groceries, or going out to eat sometimes. These are some of the things that we have to consider. And maybe for some people, like you don't think it's a big deal, but for like a uni student who's stressed on time, it's really like time consuming. Yeah. So like what would you say your approach to like balancing uni, gym?
Okay, I guess in my sense it's a bit different to what Victor says. Like Victor's a really he's a go-getter. Like we all know Victor's a go-getter. He works hard. He knows what he wants in life, and he's going to get that. Like Victor right now is actually working for a physiotherapist in Sunnybank as well, getting all that experience and all that. But I guess in that sense I'm a bit more immature in my sort of mindset in terms of balance. So at the start, it's always been about, I've been watching David lately and everything, and he's always going on about how he goes 6 times a week. He doesn't even take naps or anything. He doesn't sleep. He gets about 4 hours of sleep. He eats muffins just to get enough calories and all that. So I always had envisioned that, gym was all about just getting there, not really as much of the diet or eating or anything. So it's always been just about getting to the gym and making sure that you finish all your workouts. And if you're going to be talking to your friends, make sure that that time is also going to be counted into your gym time, because, you're going to be wasting that time. So for the longest period of time, for maybe about a year or so, I've just been going 6 times a week, even during exam periods. And that's really sort of cocked me in terms of like my academic performance in that sense. So there'd be so many things that are happening around me. Like I could have gotten my license, I could have like gotten a job or anything, but it's always just been about that whole 6 times a week going to gym and all that. So over time, like I'm sure everyone can see, like I'm sort of changing in terms of like my body and everything, and I sort of started to get towards my goals and get closer towards my goals, and I sort of understood that maybe like gym isn't meant to be always at the top priority of everything. So I started to realize that diet was also quite important and all of that. So understanding that there's a lot of things that actually come into like well-being and health, instead of just looking jacked and looking like you're a very healthy man, like an athlete, like Victor says. There's also like you've got to be mental well-being is also quite a very prominent sort of characteristic in terms of us. So in that sense, that I started to realize that I had to actually sort of have a nice little balance between like my gym time as well as my study time, and as well as work time and play time and all of that. So slowly, I've always been jumping about. So in a sense, how I balance has always been about priority. So what would I prioritize first in the day? So I'd wake up and if I wasn't working that day, I know that I had to get to the gym. And till this day, I guess I still follow that regime. Like I always prioritize what I need to do first, and I would do that before I moved on. So back when uni was on, I used to like have to study in the morning, which was pretty annoying. But I usually get my study done first before I headed out to the gym, maybe about 1 p.m. or so. So I guess in my sense, I've always worked on what my priorities were in the short term, as opposed to Victor understanding his priorities in the long term. Now, I'm not too sure which one's the more apparently correct way to take out your balancing on everything, but I guess the takeaway point is that at the end of the day, there's still a balance required, and how you get about, acquiring that balance is really up to you, but you must find that little point where you can just put everything on that scale and nothing topples over. And I think that's most important. Question, what
the
should
Q&A.
we talk about in the Q&A?
Like that. It's just like Jackie's like, fuck you.
Fuck you, talk shit about me in your vlog.
Yeah.
Right, go explain mindset.
Alright, so I think one of the last things we kind of want to cover like in this video is mindset, and what we're talking about is mindset when it comes to lifting. And I'm going to kind of start by defining what I think a mindset is. And then I'm gonna just elaborate on my mindset when it comes to actually lifting weights in the gym, making progress. Okay, so mindset for me, I think it's so important, and I think it's something that really takes time to develop. So I like to live by this kind of theory, this kind of logic. It's called like mindset over motivation, and I think of this because motivation is something that's very temporary.
Yeah.
So I can watch a video on YouTube what is that, like lifting motivation?
Yeah.
And I can feel motivated for like 10 minutes, right?
Yeah.
Or like a friend can say something to me. It's like, oh, come on, let's go, you can do this, and like I feel motivated. But it's so temporary. So you lose it after a while. But mindset, the interesting thing about mindset is that it doesn't come instantly. It's something that's kind of forged over time, and it's forged by constantly succeeding, failing, and through that you kind of mold your own mindset. So my mindset when it comes to lifting is that the weight should be scared of me, and because I'm such a I'm so into powerlifting that like all my progress I try to quantify in terms of numbers. So that can be like, oh, I hit this number, I hit maybe like 200 kilo deadlift for 3 reps on this day. And like when it comes to training hard and doing that in the gym, like I know I can do 200 kilos for 3 reps, so like I shouldn't be scared of the weight. And so what I'm trying to get at is, I'm trying to tell you guys like what I'm thinking about when I lift. So that can be doing something that's about to scare the shit out of me, so like maybe squatting some heavy ass weight, right? Or it can be like something as simple as making progress over time. So when it comes to hitting a new PR, hitting that new heavy weight that you haven't touched before, like I get psyched out. I don't know about you, but I like to get psyched the fuck out, and like I scream, I do everything, I bash things, yeah. And that's how I like push myself to that next level. And I also use a lot of pre-workout, so like I'm high on stimulants most of the time. Yeah. So that really pushes me to the next level, and that really allows me to kind of block out that primal instinct of fear. So like it's not normal for someone to lift 200 kilos off the floor, for fun.
That's true.
Yeah, but if you really want to push yourself to that next level, like you kind of have to block out that instinct, and you got to do what you got to do, right?
Yeah.
And so I just like try to get as angry as possible. I'm thinking about everything bad in my life, and I try to channel that into lifting the weight as hard as I can. And that's how I approach like heavy ass weights that I haven't touched before. And yeah, when it comes to long-term progress, like I kind of think about this idea where you still have to train hard, But you can't just train hard stubbornly where you just go to the gym 6 times a week,
That's true.
but you but you don't like track your diet, or you don't track your progress. You know,
Yeah.
like because I'm into powerlifting, so everything's about numbers. So I try to take note of what numbers I hit on every day, and like whether I could or could not do like a certain number in one session. And I think it's important. It's important to quantify your progress somehow. Actually, just to know that you are actually making progress.
Yeah.
And sometimes you don't. You feel like you're not making enough progress. And it's in the numbers. You're not hitting this weight at a certain time, so you feel down sometimes. Actually, like I feel down when I can't do enough, like a certain weight,
For sure. Yeah.
which I normally can do, or which is like considered like light. Yeah. And it feels bad. Yeah, well, I'm not gonna lie, it feels bad. You feel like trash, you feel like the whole world's about to fucking like collapse, yeah? Yeah. But what I've learned like during my journey in the gym is that, it doesn't really matter. It doesn't really matter if you can't hit that weight on that day. And it doesn't really matter if you're not making like enough progress at this certain amount of time, because as long as you keep on going at it, and going at it smart, so like dieting, tracking your progress correctly, and not being a bitch and like skipping sets and reps, then you will make progress in the long term. And I think the long term game is what I'm playing. It's not about the short term progress, it's about that long term progress and seeing yourself grow over time.
For sure.
Yeah, so like what about you?
To me, mindset, that's a really hard one actually. So the basis of this question was basically what are we thinking right when we're doing that set and going through that all that reps just to keep us going and all, to push out that weight. And I guess what Victor said about fearing, like how a squat would crush you down if you didn't actually get that sort of rep out and all that doesn't really apply to me as much as it would to him. So Victor prides himself a lot on the whole powerlifting scheme and going hard on the weight, making sure that he's always increasing the weight. But for me, it's always been very fluctuating. So in the sense that, so starting off, like, I think me and Victor both know that, bench was really hard for both of us, yeah? And like, it's always been a dream just to see those two plates clanking on each other when you push it up and all that. So in that sense, I guess I had the whole powerlifting mindset to sort of force myself to, get that 100 kilo bench press just to tell everyone I could do it. So that was my motivation at that point in time. So, just being able to tell everyone about how much I've lifted and how I can lift all this weight and all that. So that was actually the absence of a mindset. So I didn't really have a fear that I couldn't get the weight, but more of a fear that I couldn't tell anyone that I actually can't do the weight. So, I guess over that time, I was sort of a motivational thing that I wanted just to get that weight. So every time I was like benching, I was like, you know what, one day I'm going to be pushing up 100 kilos. And that was what really got me gearing on and all that. So over time, I actually did get the 100 kilos, like maybe a month back or so. I guess it's actually a very short-term goal, as like what Victor would say. Like as soon as I got that 100, I actually fell off gym for about maybe a solid 2 weeks or so. So I didn't really bother about anything else. I did sort of like text Victor, yo, can you even do 100 bench and all that kind of stuff. But in my, like looking back, I actually did not get any sort of improvement in myself over that time. So I guess that also gave me enough experience to understand that mindset's not really all about motivation at all. Mindset's more about how you take your experiences and how you craft yourself around it. So right now when I'm lifting, like, it's always been the same thing about me trying to lose weight, me trying to look nice when I get on the beach and everything. So when I'm lifting my weight, I'm not going as heavy as Victor would, like Victor is and all that. So I'm definitely not deadlifting 200 for 3 or whatever. I'm only like deadlifting like 180 for 1 and all that. But I guess it's in the sense of what you really want to achieve that's what shapes your mindset. And in my sense, I guess it's always been about fat loss, always about looking nice. So when I'm doing my reps and stuff, I know that the muscle's breaking down. Like everyone knows that when muscle breaks down, it grows. And I'm always just looking for that, that feel that, you're working hard enough to get that muscle breakdown so that you can fix it and get the muscle growing bigger. So I guess in my sense of trying to get hypertrophy and all that instead of strength, is that, you just have to understand that not everyone's has to have the same sort of take on how we should lift and how we should take like going down for a 200 kilo squat or whatsoever. Yeah.
Yeah. I think I kind of like read like what you said about you know, being able to share like, you know, your accomplishments and like, you know, tell people that you can, you know, you can do this and that.
Yeah.
I think like that's what I initially thought, you know, like when I first went to the gym, like I was proud. Like you're proud of it, yeah.
Yeah.
So you're obviously proud of it and you want to share it to everyone. I think that's the exact same way how I thought, like in the very beginning. You know, like I would go around and like compare myself,
Yeah,
like
sure.
to other people, and you know, like from doing that, you just kind of get sad after a while.
You would,
You know,
yeah.
like because there's always one kid or like one other person who's like 10 times better than you, 10 times stronger than you, 10 times more jacked, 10 times more ripped than you. So like by doing this, by comparing yourself all the time, like it's not. I wouldn't say it's sustainable for a long time.
For
And
sure,
it's like immature. It's immature,
It is
right?
immature,
Yeah, because everyone, you know, everyone has their own goals in life. Everyone has their own goals in the gym. So you know, you shouldn't be going around and like comparing yourself to people who, you know, just want to be there for the sake of it. You know, there's people in the gym who just want to, you know, lose weight,
Exactly.
or like they just want to get strong, or maybe they just want to get moving. Maybe they've been injured for like a long time, and you know, this is part of their rehab. You know, like you shouldn't compare yourself to these people, because at the end of the day you'll feel shit. Yeah. And I feel like when I first started, and maybe like up until maybe a year ago, like I would look down on people doing like things that I wasn't doing. Yeah. So I would look down on people who like, oh, you know, couldn't like deadlift 140.
Yeah.
Or like, you know, I would look down on people who didn't train for strength, like
Yeah.
in general. And I would say I had like a huge ego, and I would like, you know, like I just wouldn't treat them the same. Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah. But like as the longer I like try to you know, pursue my own goals in getting strong as fuck, the more I came to realize that, you know, this kind of thought process is so toxic. You know, it's so toxic not only to yourself but to other people. You know, like you have this huge ego that you hold on to, that like, you know, when people try attack it, you know, people try call you out on your shit, you know, you get so offended and you become so immature. So I think that's something I used to have. Yeah, but I kind of you know, learned how to, you know, block it out of my life. So that's not me anymore. And yeah.
Yeah, I guess exactly what Victor said. It's just understanding that it's a competition against yourself. Is that really like puts you above like everyone else? Like understanding that, you know, you're at the end of the day, you're only trying to be better than what you were yesterday. You're not trying to be better than like who someone else is today and all that. So yeah, I guess that's the most mature mindset you can have. Yeah.
Yeah, and like you shouldn't look down on people at like who go to the gym to do like different things. You know, some people just might be doing cardio. Some people might be doing fucking CrossFit.
Yeah.
And CrossFit's gay. Yeah, but like, you know, people are there for different purposes. So the thing that you should think about is that all you guys go to the same gym. Yeah, and you're all there because you want to better yourself. And I think that's the main thing I want you guys to know, is that you shouldn't like compare yourself. You shouldn't look down on like your people and like the peers around you, because you're all there for a like similar kind of purpose. Yeah. And if you criticize them, you're just being a hypocrite yourself. Yeah. Okay, so if you guys like this kind of content, like this sit down conversation type of video, then yeah, let us know in the comments, or you know, like the video, subscribe to our channels. What is yours?
It's just Jesse Wong.
Jesse Wong. Yeah. Follow him on Instagram. What is it?
Yeah, it's just Jesse Wong again with 2 E's after Jesse.
Yeah. And yeah, make sure you subscribe to his stuff, and also yeah, like this video, like his video, subscribe to his channel, like his videos as well. Follow him on Instagram. Yeah, just show us love. Yeah, and just make sure you guys let us know that you like this kind of content. And yeah.
Or else you're gonna do it again.
Yeah.
And yeah, he'll close his
We'll get
channel.
sad.
Yeah, and his girlfriend's on him. She won't pick him up tonight.
Alright, that's it. See you guys.
Done.